Hi everyone. Now, with a question like this, it seems like there's a lot going on, but when once you break it down, it actually simplifies really easily. So let's have a look at this. It's saying that it's saying a bunch of inequalities actually, and you can see that immediately when you just take a sneak peek at your options in the MCQ. Um, we're looking at inequalities, so let's kind of understand it. Okay, so over here it's saying Heinrich must buy at least 100 shares of stocks for his portfolio. So immediately we're saying we have at least 100 shares. So over here, I want you to kind of remember these keywords, okay? So over for over here, this table kind of covers the keywords that you want to remember. And I mean, you could understand it from its meaning, uh, but just keep in mind that over here, when I say at least, so I'm saying I can't have anything more, right? Um, sorry, I can't have anything less. So I'm saying that the minimum I can have is 100, and then and then I can have more than that. So I'm saying that I should have, is that less than or greater than? What do you think? Yeah, it's greater than, right? So we're saying that I need anything greater than or equal to 100 because it's saying that it should be at least 100. So 100 is included because we're saying that's the minimum, right? So I'm saying that something needs to be greater than or equal to 100. So let's keep going. So we know that we're going to have something like this. Let's keep going. So then it says the shares he buys will be from stock X. So there are two stocks, stock X. Each stock will cost $22, and then stock Y each will cost $35. So so each one, if I wanted to buy just one stock X, I'd pay 22, and it's going to depend like that. So it's going to be linearly dependent, right? So I buy three, then I multiply 22 by three, and so on. So then over here, they're saying that his budget for buying stocks is no more than 4,500. So look at this. For the first one, it said at least 100 shares. Here it's saying no more than. Now, that's another keyword, right? So is no more than, that's less than or equal to, right? Now, and you can understand it from the situation as well. They're saying he can't pay more than 4,500. So his max is at 4,500, but he can pay anything less than that. So we're saying that it's less than or equal to $4,500. Let's continue on. Over here, they're saying he must buy at least 20 shares from StockX. So we're saying that StockX doesn't just each one cost $22. He wants to buy at least 20 of those shares. And then stock Y, he wants to buy at least as well, because over here this at least applies to both of them, 15 shares of stock Y. So let's have a look at the remainder of this question. So it's saying, which of the following represents the situation if A describes the number of shares from stock X and B describes the number of shares from stock Y? All right, if I were to kind of go back and put all of this together, we'll look at this. We're saying that the number of shares, okay, now keywords over here. Number of shares from stock X is A, number of shares from stock Y is B, okay? So then I'm saying that technically, if I were to have A plus B, remember how they said in total they have to have at least 100 shares. So the number of shares from stock X and the number of shares from stock B together, so plus, needs to be greater than or equal to 100, right? Then we look at the next piece of information. We said that for every stock X, we have $22. Now remember, stock X was the A. So A multiplied by 22, so 22 multiplied by A, this represents stock X, right? So you're basically just all this information that we kind of understood on our own. Now we're using that A and B to put it in an equation or to give it a proper definition, right? So that was for stock X, and then 35B was for stock Y, correct? Now I want you to think of this next one, the 4,500. Remember how we said that our value, the amount that we can pay, or the amount that Heinrich can pay, is no more than 4,500, so he has to pay anything less. So remember how these had to do with dollars? Okay, I wanted to pause the video here and try and come up with what we're going to place in this area over here. This is in dollars. What am I going to place over here? Okay, now that you're back, let's try it out. Okay, so we have 22A is representing the amount of money I can pay for stock X, right? Because if I'm saying I need at least 20 stocks from stock X, then sorry, shares from stock X, then I can say 22 times that 20, right? So it's representing the amount of money I'm paying for stock X. And then I'm adding it to the representation of amount of money I'm also paying for stock B, right? And I'm saying that that has to be less than or equal to 4,500. Okay. Now let's have a look at this. So that's not the only thing we had. We had that last sentence, right? That 20 and so on. Whoopsies. Sorry about that. That 20, so they're saying at least 20 from stock X. So remember how stock X, we used it to represent, we represented it by A. So we said A, it's saying at least. Do you remember what at least means? Yeah, we used it over here, right? At least is greater than or equal to. So it's greater than or equal to that 20. And then over here for stock Y, so B, they said, again, it's also at least, so at least 15. Now let's use all this information and try and find the one that kind of contains that. So we want A and B to be at least 20 and at least 15. So the only ones that correspond to that are these ones, right? So C and D. And then we wanted 22A plus 35B to be less than or equal to 4,500. Let's have a look at that. So 22A plus 35B is less than or equal to 4,500. Now, that is shared between both of them as well. So the only thing that's going to be our determining factor is this one. So let's have a look at that. We said that they can't pay, that they want at least 100 shares. They could have more than 100, right? So at least is saying it's our minimum. Okay, so that means that we use the greater than or equal to. So this one is the correct one. So D is our answer. Okay, so again, what were our steps? We broke it down, okay? Steps. Get your givens. That's always going to be your first one, okay? Get givens. I kind of wrote the givens on the side. It helps me to, while I'm reading the question, just, oh, this is what I have. Okay, this is what I have. This is what I have. At least means minimum, so that means I need anything greater, and so on. Okay, so get givens. Identify equations. Okay, so just like when we had over here, equations / inequalities in this case. Inequalities, you see how anyways. Okay, so over here, that's what we did over here. We said, you know what? We know how we represent the amount we're going to pay, like the value we're going to pay for however many stocks we get from X, however many shares we get from stock X, and then the value we're going to pay for how many shares we get from stock Y. So kind of this 22A and the 22B respectively. And then we said, well, they can't stand on their own because they're representing value. And we know that he can't spend anything more than 4,500. So we put that value over here less than or equal to 4,500. So that was us identifying an equation, right? We also did that over here. Okay. And then third step is to kind of put everything together, okay? Put everything together. And once I put everything together, we noticed that it was between these two. And then we kind of just found that one was the determining factor and it wasn't this one. This was our answer. Okay. All right. I hope that helped and I'll see you next question then. Bye.